Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Hadithi za Imani by Faith Chumo. So today I kind of just want to talk about something that a lot of people have been asking me about, which is education and basically my transition from 844 into the American system in college. Throughout primary school, my parents were always on track in terms of looking at my transcripts and my homework, signing my diary. So I was very privileged in that sense to have parents who were very invested in my academics. Sometimes it manifested differently, and whenever I didn't do well, you guys know Kenyan parents. I remember whenever I wouldn't do well, sometimes my dad would smack me, or my mom, they would smack me using a belt. We call what's this in Kalenjin, we call it sosiot or something like that. It's this branch from a specific tree that has a certain level of flexibility that's just perfect for causing the right amount of pain so that you can start working hard in school. That's how I got through primary school. It was very kind of punitive, my parents were strict, teachers were also strict. Both of the schools that I went to were very okay with corporal punishment, and me and a lot of my classmates ended up getting beaten. I don't know if you were making noise in class or didn't do certain assignments. It's just how it was. That's how the Kenyan school culture is. Then when I transitioned into high school, I went to a boarding school in Nairobi, and this meant that for the first time I wouldn't have my parents with me, and teachers were heavily involved because a lot of them lived in the school compound with us. For the first time I had to be responsible for my own academics, and initially that was really difficult. I remember I was number 11 in my class, and throughout primary school I tried to make sure that I was top, at least amongst the top 3 in my class, and so it was a huge hit for me because that was just such a huge social and cultural change. And so eventually I got the hang of it, and I was back on top of my academics. I was top of my class pretty much throughout high school. I remember growing up throughout my childhood, I wanted to be a doctor. It was just something that was said to me, and then I eventually took it up. I was yeah, I want to be a doctor. And then every time I'd meet my family members or my friends' parents, they'd be so what do you want to do in the future? And I'd be I want to be a doctor. Oh, doctor. There's this very stereotypical thing about smart kids. A lot of people know this African joke about you being an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, I don't know, or a pilot, and then the final option is a disappointment to your family. It's I think it's a very backward school of thought. I think that school isn't for everyone. There's certain spaces that are more conducive to people's actualization outside academics, and I think that it's time that we as Kenyans start embracing that. Things like the arts, music, theater and performance and all of that stuff. Yeah, because that's where the world is headed, and I think that it's something that we should start embracing and actually actively changing our academic system to embrace changes like those. Kind of liberal, but I think we should do it. As soon as I was in my senior year, I started to think about what I actually want to do with my career. And that's when I realized that I was passionate in physics and math, and a part of me kind of wanted to go towards engineering as opposed to medicine, because I had taken this physics class in Form 4. I had an excellent physics teacher who was just really passionate about teaching, and I thought that I would turn my interest in the hard sciences into a career as opposed to doing medicine. And so when I was choosing my universities, because that's what happens when you do the national exam, KCSE, you choose the universities that you want to go to, and then according to how you perform, then you'll be let into those into those schools. So I remember I got my results. I got into electrical engineering at University of Nairobi. So that is what I would be studying right now. I believe I'd be like somewhere in my 4th year. But a lot of like that confusion, and I remember the day, I remember that like there was a time like towards the end of high school when I had a conversation with my dad, and I was so scared like of the possibility of me not actually liking whatever I get into, and so I think that's where like that is the foundation of me deciding to like switch systems into maybe like the British system or the American system, and really like try to discover what I was into. And so that's when I signed up for the International Foundation here at Brook House, and I started off like with the bio I think we call them like biological sciences or something, and it was like a 3-course program like where I learned math, biology, and I think it was math, biology, and chemistry. And I did it for a while, and I was like, actually no, I'm going to go back to the engineering side. So and then I dropped 2 of them, and then I took up further math and physics. I felt confused like all over again. See, I don't know, I'm a perfectionist, and like sometimes it works against me in the sense that like if something isn't working out for me on the fundamentals of academics, then I imagine that it's not going to work for me in terms of like a career. And I was just like, oh god, now I have to like reassess what I'm doing. I'm just gonna sip my coffee. I'm talking about. Whew, this is like a huge one. I love it. It says, "Do I quit your dream?" Anyway, but I finally realized that if I kept through with the program, just like it is in Kenya, like the Kenyan and the British system are very similar. And so what happens is as soon as like you transition from high school to college, you focus on one thing in college. And I did not want that. I really did not want that. I thought that the International Foundation year would give me space and time to think, because they were very flexible in what classes like you could take, and gave me like a lot of time to decide. But then even after that, I still wasn't sure, and so I left Brook House like having not completed the program, because I just felt like it was not gonna help me actually like decide what I wanted to do. So at this point, KCC results had already been announced, and I'd gotten like a really good score in the national exam. And when we went for the Thanksgiving mass, and during the mass, like during a break, somebody made an announcement about an organization called ESEP or something like that, like the Educational and Social Empowerment Program. If you're interested in this organization, their website is esep.org, and make sure you look it up if you're Kenyan and interested in studying in the US. Definitely look it up. As soon as that announcement was made, I immediately became curious about studying the US, and I heard about this whole like idea of like the liberal arts, and how a lot more freedom is accorded to students to decide like what they want to do with their academics. And so I looked into it, I applied, I got in, and I spent a wonderful, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months in Nandi Hills in Kenya, just preparing for my ACTs and my TOEFL with a wonderful bunch of friends who also got in the program. And then I applied to American colleges. I don't recall how many colleges I got into. How many colleges I applied to, but I got into Yale University. That's what matters. Okay, we're gonna have I'm gonna make another video about applying to American colleges, because I think there's like a lot to be considered. I think that there's a lot to be talked about in terms of Kenyans applying to go to school abroad, especially in America. So I'll do a separate video for that. And I'm also saying this because I applied to so many and I got rejected by so many, and a lot of people messaged me saying, I got rejected by this, is it worth it for me to try again this year? And I definitely think it is. If it's your passion and if it's your dream and goal to study abroad in a university that you've looked into and that you found that you love, I think that you should definitely do it. After getting to Yale, I found I looked up certain things about the curriculum. I really liked Yale for certain reasons, and its curriculum mimics a lot of the schools here in the US, but then there's certain things about it that I really liked. So for like right now it's the beginning of the semester, and we have this thing called shopping period, and it's basically a time like when you're allowed to shop and take any class that you want, and you can talk to your academic advisor while you're doing it, talk to the professors of these classes that you're interested in taking. And basically I think it's like for let me see, maybe a week and a half, you're allowed to like take things in and out of your like course schedule for the semester, so that you decide like what classes you want. And the way it works like is, if you have a major, there are certain, like, I mean, by junior year you have to declare like what your major is. My major is history of science, medicine and public health. For your major you have to fulfill certain like academic requirements in terms of credits. So maybe some majors have like, I think up to like 12 maybe a minimum of 12 credits, and for you to graduate you need maybe like 36 or something like that. So you can take like for the rest of the majors, for the other like 24, I mean sorry, for the rest of the credits, like the other 24 credits, you're able to take classes in whatever like department or whatever major that you're interested in. And I found that really lucrative because I just needed time to decide, and I really shocked myself because now I'm majoring in the humanities and I thought I never would, but then there's just something so special about this major, HSHM, the history of science, medicine and public health, that, you know, just that I can't find like in a major like molecular biology, which I started out with. And that's why I'm just so grateful for this, you know, like this system, like the liberal arts like education. Also, Yale doesn't have a core curriculum. I know schools like Columbia in New York have a core curriculum, like a certain list of classes that you have to take, but Yale doesn't have that, and I really appreciate it because then you have the freedom to like take classes in whatever you want to take, but then keeping your major in mind. And then if you're pre-med like I am, you have to take certain classes that are pre-med requirements. And on the Yale admissions office, I'll link this below. On the Yale admissions office, it explains really well like why their curriculum is designed this way, and how it caters for both depth and knowledge in whatever field you decide to major in, but then also breadth and knowledge in the sense that you're able to acquire like a wide variety of like perspectives in different fields to kind of like make your education wholesome. And I think that's like something really valuable about Yale. So basically, like, if you guys have any questions about like applying to the US or what it's like doing school here, comment below or like follow me on social media. My Snapchat is faith_chumo. My Instagram is hadithiza imani, and my Facebook is just Faith Chumo. My email address is hadithizaimani@gmail.com. Hit me up with any questions that you guys have, but then otherwise, like, thank you for watching. This has been amazing. Hit me up, like, you know, tell me how you're doing, how Nairobi is, if you're Kenyan, wherever like you are in the world. Like, comment below where you're watching from or where you're listening from. Yeah, and thank you so much, and see you guys in my next video. Bye.